Hey everyone, episode 63 of the Daily BE, and a little bit different format on this video, you may have noticed already. We're going to get right into it. With my last video, number 62, I showed you the train ticket pocket that's up here on the brown jacket on the left, and it got me thinking that a very good sign of a high quality manufactured garment, whether it's, well, obviously a menswear, but if it's a jacket or a shirt, whatever, is if the actual pattern is matched. And what I mean by that is that let's look at this pocket right here. So obviously we have a plaid fabric here, and when we do things like put in darts and put in any kind of joint here, you're going to see it because of that fabric, versus if it was all brown, for instance, you wouldn't really notice. But because we have this pattern, we can see that, oh, something was done here because there's a seam. These don't line up, right? And that's okay, because when you have any kind of shaped contour, it's never going to be perfect like that unless that fabric, that pattern was actually printed for this specific jacket, which is outrageous. Even for us in the world of custom, we can't do that, right? However, we can get very, very close in other ways. And you kind of notice that on this coat, some of the things that were done is that even though the sleeve is of a different sewn material, it's the same fabric obviously, but it's a different piece of that same fabric. Our plaid structure here is actually pretty well lined up, and that's something that you don't see very often. And now on the pockets, a really, really difficult spot in particular, this flat pocket here. And if we look on this guy, we see that this blue line, for instance, is matched up, and this one's matched up. And that's about as far as you could go on this particular one. This one we start to lose it a little bit, but not too bad, and that's because of the angles and the different things going on, right? But a lot of manufacturers, and certainly ones that don't put in the time and effort to do it right, you may not even see any of these lines match up. They may have just taken a piece of fabric for the flap and just sewn it on without even thinking about the rest of it. And so if we look even closer up here on the ticket pocket, a little bit tougher, you might say, well, it wasn't matched up here, wasn't matched up here, they did a horrible job. But what you see when you look closer is that our tailors actually made a decision. They said, well, we're going to match the horizontal lines, and those are the ones that we're going to focus on because they can't do both. And so that was kind of a very aware decision where you have to kind of pick sometimes when you get into the realm of these very complex fabrics. Not everything's going to match, but you can still start someplace. And I think specifically for, this is Brett's coat, having the horizontal lines match was a very good fit for him. Now we can see a similar story in the shirts. And shirts are a lot easier for a number of reasons, but this one is a great example because we have a very, very bold blue stripe, right, and green stripe. But the first one that I think you see is probably the blue. And so here where the front closure, here's my front placket, and obviously really good job here on the manufacturing of this specific shirt, where these blue horizontal lines are just matched perfectly, and consequently the green is matched perfectly. Even the secondary stripes here, everything is just the way it should be. And with a very, very strong shirt like this, you notice in a hurry if there was any difference. If this was off just a little bit, you're really going to see it. So when you're shopping for clothes or you're working with a custom retailer, ask to see an example of a heavily patterned garment, whether it's a shirt or whether it's a jacket or a suit or whatever, and see how closely they line things up and where they decided to make one line a priority over another one. And that can really give you some very, very keen insight into their manufacturing process and therefore their quality. And when it comes to custom menswear, you're potentially spending a lot of money on this kind of thing. And so these little details are really telltale signs of, have you found a good person? So that's kind of a little insight into pattern matching and bespoke tailoring. Hope that helped. Let us know if you have any questions below. and we'll be back tomorrow with another video. Thanks for watching, everyone.